All right, haves and have not fans. I'd say one of the most, if not the most, talked about moment from this week's episode, which was a pretty solid episode for what it's worth, was the cliffhanger ending where Jim basically said that Celine was the one to kill his daughter Amanda. So before going further in the video, please take a moment to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon to select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content to the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Now, I've suspected Celine since the beginning. You know, I remember back when this happened, way back in, what was it, like 2014, 2015? And the question was, who did it? Was it Quincy? Was it Professor Cannon or his wife? Because remember, Amanda rolled up in their house at night and stuck a gun down Professor Cannon's throat in bed while his wife was there. Was it Carlos or was it Celine? Or was it suicide? It was one of those options. But the question is, you know, Wyatt admitted, you know, a couple seasons ago after he got arrested for shooting at his parents, well, shooting Jim and shooting at Catherine, that I was the one that did it. I killed my sister. And it's like, wait, what? And then if you go back seasons or years ago, Jennifer Salison pulled David aside when David went to see Jennifer to get a chance to see Jim in jail, that here's the blood splatter and everything. This was not a suicide. This was a homicide. I'm going to say it right now. I don't know. Even though for years I've been saying I never thought it was a suicide and, you know, it was Celine or whatever. The way that things have just been retconned or changed or lacking continuity, I've come to accept Tyler Perry gonna do what Tyler Perry gonna do. He could come up with the most asinine, nonsensical explanation of Amanda's death, and I would just have to roll with it, because there have been so many things over the years, if not just recent episodes in general, that have just not aligned with earlier established lore within the franchise. Little Jimmy being like a 20-30-year-old when he rolled up to see Jim in the hospital, even though he was like 5 or 6 when he was first introduced on television during Jim's announcement that he was running for governor. Even more recently, Sandy all of a sudden being Mitch's brother, even though it was established that he was Mitch's cousin. Celine talking about how she's running out of money despite the fact that Jim was paying her ungodly amounts of money each month in child support. And I've done a video on that about how she should be sitting on millions based on a number that was given in an earlier episode. I'll probably leave a link in the top comment, because I didn't even feel like doing the research, because it's like, I don't see the point anymore, because Tyler Perry either forgot or he rewrote it. I don't know. But just to go down the ladder, it could just be suicide, even though it wasn't, because Tyler Perry forgot all about it. Look, you know what? If you don't mind the sound of clicking in the background, let me just pull up a list of have and have not episodes. Let me see if I can drop my damn mic. Hang on. Caught it though. Didn't want it to break. I know I could just pause the recording here, but I just wanted to show you in real time how random this shit is. Okay, so we're looking at haves and have nots. And I'm pulling up the episode list on Wikipedia, because I do remember the episodes like where a lot of these events took place here. So we go all the way up, because I'm literally scrolling up. We're looking at okay, so Checkmate took place July 29th, 2014. That's when it aired. And Amanda's room in the press conference, it was like early, like January, February 2015, where it was revealed that, oh my God, Amanda's dead. And so we're talking about a murder that took place in early 2015. And it wasn't until like season 3 taking place in 2016 where David, I believe, went to see Jim in order to figure out exactly what happened. Actually seeing Jennifer to get information to see Jim in jail, and Jennifer revealed that it was a homicide, not a suicide. And you're telling, and then you go all the way to what was it? Was it May 2019? Or was it, wait, Show Not Tell? Yeah, Show Not Tell was, Yeah, it was January 2020 when Wyatt said that I'm the one that shot my sister. So you mean to tell me you expect to believe Tyler Perry to even make sense of Amanda's death at this point? Because the suicide, he could easily say it was suicide if he wanted to. He could say Wyatt did it because Wyatt said he did back in 2020. But then again, it's all, I've been thinking about it since it, was shown in the trailer. Why the hell would Celine be brought back after all these years unless she had a major part to play in the story? Seriously, if she wasn't the one who killed Amanda, why exactly would she be brought back? For child support? That's stupid. She did it. Because it makes sense in the context of how she always goes on. I mean, she gave a very heartfelt speech, and this was like one of the few times I remember liking Celine. I mean, that was Checkmate, episode 36, July 29th, 2014. After Carlos pretty much told off Jim about being, a negligent father. Celine was like, it's not about the money, the vacations, the mansions. Your children only wanted time with you. And it's pretty much, you look at what she's even saying now about how, you talking about, your drugged up son who tried to kill you, who's in the hospital and going to jail. That's the only person you care about instead of your other children. So it would have been interesting. I mean, it was a cliffhanger ending, so we weren't going to get this long explanation. A lot of people are like, how the hell does Jim know that Celine killed Amanda and this and that? I mean, we still don't even have Wyatt or George telling Catherine and Jim that Wyatt said that he was the one that killed killed Amanda. So here's what I'm willing to bet that Tyler had forgotten what Wyatt told George, and he decided to write it in that Celine was the one that did it. Again, the writing is all over the place. I remember I've done like so many in-depth analysis videos breaking down the scene by scene of who could have done it, who would have made the most sense to do it. We know whoever shot Amanda, they left the room without a speck of blood on them, even though there was blood all over, because remember, the blood was only inside of the room, not on the outside, not on the carpet. Outside of her room, it was only in the room. So it just doesn't make sense. And not to mention, she's on an upper floor, so it's not like somebody poked their head in the window, shot her in her sleep, and then bounced out of there. Unless they were Spider-Man or something. So I feel like Jim could have just been putting two and two together. It's like, I thought about it, and it wasn't a suicide. It just didn't make sense. And not to mention, who would have the motive to kill Amanda? It's like you just wanted to kill her because you knew she was my favorite child, and it's like you felt like, go back to the episode April 7th, 1979, when everybody's inside of the house while the police are upstairs investigating. Celine was the only one having like a freaking breakdown and wanted to get out of there. So it's like guilty right there. Not to mention the criminal always returns to the scene of the crime. Like there was a moment when she was in the kitchen on the phone and somebody was on the other end just asking, what are you doing here? It's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. And then that's when Hannah comes down the stairs covered in blood. So Celine, she most likely is the suspect to do it. Like Quincy was at Veronica's house at the moment. He wasn't over there at Jim and Catherine's house. Professor Cannon's wife, how would they even know where the Criers lived? And not to mention, Amanda was in an apartment at the time when she got raped by Professor Cannon, so they wouldn't have known she moved back in with her parents. And Carlos would have been an interesting suspect, but I imagine he's just a good kid. So Celine would have the biggest motive to get back. And it's like, well, what about Jimmy? He rolled up on his dad with a gun. Well, it was a fake gun. And that could just show that gun-toting or gun-wielding runs in the family. So I think Celine did it. Again, I'll have to wait for the episode to come out. Look, guys, I don't want to sound lazy. I know I could easily do a video that gets a lot of views, but I've talked this subject, no pun intended, to death. I really don't care at this point. Tyler Perry, the show's going to end. It's just going to be random. So I just feel like regardless, Amanda's dead. It wasn't a suicide. It was a homicide. And Celine obviously did it. Like, seriously, think about it this way. She's been gone for so long in the show. It's already been established she was being paid an ungodly amount of child support money, yet living in the slums. We don't even know what she's been doing with the money. But all of a sudden, she's pressed for cash and about to lose her apartment and everything. The only reason her being brought back to the show makes sense is if she was the one that killed Amanda. That's really all I gotta say. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If that's the case, do you think that's going to nullify the child support stuff? Because that could be used against Celine in court. And with that being said, let's say Jim presses charges. What if George was like, well, Wyatt said he did it, but remember, he was under the influence of drugs and he wasn't even under oath or anything, so anything he said could have been nullified by him being high. So let's talk about it below. Hopefully we get this subject put to bed next week. And like and subscribe, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.